Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of What Would Jen Do? Today we are looking at some beautiful images from Sophia, and her question is which preset is right for her. And while I can't answer that for you, Sophia, I would be happy to show you the two presets that you're considering, and then we can compare and contrast the results as we go. So Sophia is looking at Kindred Essential and the main character from the Costa collection. And while really all of our presets have the same through line, there's a sneeze coming at some point, you guys. I'm just going to apologize now if it happens. They're going to have similar things. Skin tones are going to be treasured, and greens are going to be present, and color, and all these things. There's a lot of things that all of our tools have in common, and then they all have pretty distinct differences. So I'm just going to walk you through both of them and what they come with and all of those things. So Kindred Essential is our flagship preset. It is the reason this company exists. It was created from a desire of me wanting my own work to look like film, but not having the time to learn film or necessarily the budget to learn film 8 years ago. I am now a film shooter, and I can tell you that the result here does give you a really good baseline of what the fine art film wedding industry has come to expect from a film scan, and then you can take it further yourself. So it's a really nice foundation. So let's start and take a peek. Now, I'm going to try not to repeat myself all the time, but with every edit today, we are going to be focusing on our skin tones. And the first thing we're going to do most of the time is come in and adjust our exposure first until the luminance of our client's skin appears correct. So somewhere in this zone is where we're going to start. Although it is a little bit hot on her forehead, so I might come back one. Now, as you can see, the greens are very aqua forward. The skin tones have a nice peach support, and the contrast is pretty even. Now, all of our tools also come with profiles. And if you've never used a profile before, it's basically like adding a flavor to your edit. In this case, the Kindred preset base flavor, here is what it looks like all the way down. And here's what it looks like all the way up. So this is another way to affect exposure as well as warmth in your image. So I would we can just leave it at base here, whoops, and be pretty good on that. Now, before we move away from Essential and go do this edit with the main character, I do want to show you the buttons so that you can be aware of what they do. So over here on our buttons, we have the ability to lower our overall contrast. I use this one a lot. Highlight recovery, which is going to pull back as much information as your raw still has about your highlights. You can amplify color. You can lower the color toning, which is, and we might come across this here in a little bit. There is a soft magenta in the highlights. This will turn that off. You can soften your greens, give your greens a bluer base, a more yellow base. This is going to lower the overall toning of your blue. We don't have any red happening here. And then this one's going to add depth. Now let's do the exact same edit with the main character. So let me come right down here. And now the main character is the flagship profile of the Costa collection. And if you are familiar with Mary's work, this is the tool she uses probably 100% of the time. So same thing here. Now, one thing to keep in mind, especially with this tool, is that Mary, I also underexposed by around a full stop. And that is built into our tools as well. And that's to protect your highlights. So you can expect that if you are an overexposer, upon application, it's going to be bright. So you're just going to go ahead and pull that down, because that highlight retention is built into the tool, expectant that you underexposed as well. Now, skin tones are looking good here. As you saw, I have been adjusting things in the basic panel, and we'll pull back. And same thing here. This one also comes with a profile. Now, Mary these days is leaving her profile even lower than the base start. I think the last we chatted, it was around a 12, but you can see it does similar changes, but they're a lot heavier handed, much brighter, a lot more warmth, especially in the shadows of your skin tones. So we're going to pull this down. Now let's compare. Let's compare the two. That's my face. We'll put it over here for now. Okay. We'll pull down here. So there are some inherent differences right off the bat. We have less aqua in the greens over here. I could certainly pull our exposure up so that these match, so you can see the differences in skin tone as well. But these are your base, most simple edits with both tools. Now, Mary Costa, if you buy the entire collection, you get everything that you see over here on the left. But if you purchase the main character separately, what you will receive is the Pretty in Pink button, which gives you a beautiful peachy hue. Moulin Rouge, which is going to take to task any crazy reds. And then Enchanted? Sometimes I forget. Yes, Enchanted. I went to look. Okay. So let's keep going. Okay, you wouldn't receive this button. That's me playing with things because I can't leave well enough alone. All right, let's keep going. And we're going to move a little bit faster now that we have had our introduction to both tools. So let's hop in. So Essential, and we're going to zoom in on her skin. I'm going to move my face. And boop. So we're going to pull down until her skin looks healthy and luminous and not blown out. Pull back. It's pretty complete for me. I would say that I would want her dress to have just a little bit less sheen. So let's see which is going. Okay, yeah, that's the highlights on this image. So just give that a little bit more pop. Pull back and we're out of here. It's perfect. Let's do the same with the main character. Doop. And again, we're going to pull in on the skin, keep the main thing, pull down until skin feels healthy, pull back. Let's take a look at this dress. I would like to get a little bit more of that really beautiful detail in her dress because she's got that gorgeous floral pattern on there. So let's make sure we can see it. Pull back and we are good. So let me move my face again. And let's pull up Essential on the left and the main character on the right. Now here you can see some very inherent differences. On the first image, it was mostly like, oh, the greens are different, the skin is slightly different. Here you can really see that peachy hue that I was talking about. So we might go back and pull it out just so you can see. And you can see the overall like cleanliness. I think a lot of people think that the main character and Mary's collection is just really overtly warm. In reality, it actually has a lot of protection against pushing itself too warm without you doing that yourself. There's a lot of white balancing happening when it comes to the main character. And while we're here, why don't we go ahead, since we know that it's pretty prevalent here, and show you this just so you know. If you don't want that toning, you can pull it out right here, and you can see that all of that peachiness goes away. At which point, the comparison would look like this. Very similar again, but let's zoom in. And you can even see in the way that the contrast is separated through her hair. We can zoom in on her skin and you can see that there are just different things being protected here. Skin in general is being protected, but there are just different things that were prioritized here between each tool, as well as the difference of your color of highlights, etc. Let's do our next one. Okay, this one's going to apply hot with both, so prepare yourself. Okay, so in on the skin. Pull back until she looks like a human. And for me personally, on an image like this in bright midday sun, I would likely want to pull in that sky a little bit And I might even pull down my exposure even more. Now this is a scenario where if you had underexposed a little bit more, we'd have more information up here in this guy here. You can see that when you click J, we are reading that we have lost information in everywhere that's red. Typically that's not a huge problem, but if you were wanting to keep the sky or these details on her cute dress, that would be how we would keep those. Now, if this was me, I would likely be amplifying my vibrance for this so that the grass is just more present. Some people like to do that with Essential down in their HSL. I have found that for me personally, if I'm using this tool, I'm just pulling down my contrast and upping my vibrance when it comes to my greens most of the time. Now let's do the main character. This one's going to come in hot too. Pull this down. Probably somewhere around here. Now this is already reading cool to me, so I'm going to pull up that warmth a little bit. And now that we are out of here, let's pull back and let's see what our highlights are up to. Okay, so you can see that highlight retention also works differently with these two tools. We can even set them the same, -93, -83, just so you can see how those tools are inherently different when it comes to your highlights. So let's get that white balance dialed in. And same thing here. I just want a little bit more from the green, so I'm going to up my vibrance. And let's compare. I think my face is going to see every corner of this screen today. Okay, so let's compare the things that people are mostly curious about. Here are, where's her foot? There it is. Okay, let's pull back. So let's compare. Look at the way that contrast is working differently, the level of detail, and the greens are very different. And then let's zoom in on her. And there are your differences here, Essential on the left, Mary Costa on the right. And you can see, again, that toning here is giving you a lot of peachy, pinky support, and the blue is more true over here on the right. We have a couple more images. Hang tight, you guys. And let's go Essential. And we're going to pull back here. And this for me is going to be all about skin tone color. And I'm not going to leave the basic panel here only because we have been going back and forth between two tools. But we can get really far in the basic panel with both. So that is always a priority for us. I'm going to increase the vibrancy here with Essential. And here's your before and after with this file. And while I might, in fact, I would be doing some more in-depth work for her skin tone here. Beautiful woman. It looks like we maybe have a little bit of a color cast situation happening on her beautiful skin. I would probably go pull down my oranges just a little bit of finesse, but here is a great example of how these two are different. Once I get this up here, let me move me. So very similar amounts of work done here. I can lift that. Here are some very innate differences. I mean, the greens are very different, skin tones are very different, similar amount of work. And then last but not least, this one will be great because we have different colors happening than we have in the previous images. So let's pull in on her gorgeous skin. Pull down until she has that certain glow about her. I could be done here. This looks great. If I wanted just a little bit more presence there, I would up my vibrance. And this looks great. And then same thing with the main character. I anticipate this to be just as simple of an edit. Let me zoom in, make sure we have the same attention to detail. Probably somewhere around here. Yeah, again, if I wanted just a little bit more presence, I could up that vibrance. So let's compare. Okay, these are like creepily. Wait, did I drag it on there? Do you ever feel drunk in the middle of the day? I do. Come on, buddy. Okay, these are creepily similar. And that is, okay, this is a situation where you have to toggle on and off to see the difference. Because they are very similar here, but they really have very little in common other than the way that they care about the things that are happening to your colors and to your skin. So just as a friendly reminder, let's go ahead and go through and we'll just cycle through. So here is main character and essential, main character and essential, main character, essential, main character, essential, main character, essential, main character, essential. See, you start to feel drunk. Not on drugs. Here we go. Main character, essential, main character, essential with the toning pulled out. I might be sure to add. And then main character and essential. If you have any questions, Sophia, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you for letting me put your test edits into our What Would Jen Do series. I don't think that there's a wrong answer, truly. And hopefully one of these resonated with you from the jump. And I hope you have a great day.